Hey guys, this is Andrew from Knapsack Games. And instead of writing a blog post for once, I'm going to give you a video update. So, first, we have Kneejerk. And this is the game that was funded on Kickstarter last year, which is coming along nicely. This is our newest pre-production copy from Print Ninja, and it also has our new logo on it, which is pretty cool. It's kind of just how the game is supposed to look. I'll show you the cards and the rules. So you have all these cards here and nice card backs. All the colors are looking pretty saturated, and I'm pretty happy with them. Because in the past versions we've had several different problems that we were trying to get rid of. Then you have your rules here. And again with our nice new bright red logo there. So now that we have this pre-production copy, I've gone to Print Ninja and gone for the green light to start production. There was one little problem with the shrink wrap around it. They used regular shrink wrap instead of the kind of easy pull tab on like playing cards. And when you have the regular shrink wrap, it's very hard to get open. You kind of have to cut it or something, and it ends up ruining the packaging a little bit. And this was actually a problem that we had on a past iteration of production copies or pre-production copies from Print Ninja. And they fixed a bunch of other problems that we had in those copies, but not the shrink wrap. So we've asked for them to fix that, and then instead of getting another pre-production copy though, we just decided to ask them to fix that and then go ahead with the actual production because it's kind of a minor thing. Okay, so that is Kneejerk. We expect to have copies in by like end of May to start shipping out to backers. And then we're also hoping to bring some of those copies to Origins, and because we're going to have our first booth there other than kind of local conventions that we've done here in Los Angeles. So pretty excited to have those and actually start selling a product. So next up is Apotheker, the Secret Potion Society, which is a strategy game that we're going to bring to Kickstarter in June. We have most of the art done for the game. We're still working on some graphic design. And we recently ordered a copy from the Game Crafter, just sort of a prototype which includes all of our art in it. And we're waiting for more of these prototypes to come in so that way we can start shipping them to reviewers and have them look at the game before the Kickstarter starts. I'm going to show you some things from the Game Crafter because it's really cool what came in. Before I show you, I'll just note that the Game Crafter uses a different sort of way of printing from normal printers. They use RGB printing instead of CMYK, which means that the colors that we use for the game are actually going to appear differently in the Game Crafter copy. So they're a bit darker and so on. But anyway, ta-da! This is the board for Apotheker. Pretty cool. It's actually going to be a little bit bigger in the final copy. This is like 18 inches and the final one's going to be like 22 inches. So it will dominate the table and look awesome. So that is our board. And as I mentioned before, this is going to look a bit darker. You'll see that some things are kind of hard to see on this. But in the actual production version of the game, which will be printed by someone other than the Game Crafter, it will be brighter and nicer. But this is a great copy from the Game Crafter. Fully support them. So that is the board. And then on the board go these different potion cards, and you're trying to make matches of 3 in a row the same color on the board in the game. So you have your yellow, your red, bring these a bit closer, and then your blue. So those are the 3 colors of potions. And to move them around the board, you have these Apothecary cards. Cantrip Flip, Teleportal, Wizarding Winds, and then there's a bunch more, which we're not revealing yet. And then we also have some plastic gems that we'll be shipping with the review copies. These are going to be punch boards in the real game, but these were cheaper to get, so we're going for those since we're shipping out so many review copies. Other than that, we're still waiting on another thing to come in for Apotheker in the next copy, which are kind of updated player reference cards. These are sort of in the old, very design-focused prototype version of the game, or early prototype version of the game. But the new ones will be more in this style, kind of like in the world. All right, so that is Apotheker. That one's coming along. We're very happy with that. We're doing a ton of stuff for it, like just working on everything for the Kickstarter. We're starting to get prepared for the video in the next few weeks. We're hoping to have some cool special effects and other things that we didn't have with like the Kneejerk video that was more kind of a straightforward sort of approach for a party game. But this is more in a fantasy world, so we're gonna go with something cooler. What else? Yeah, I don't know. There's like a million things going on with Apotheker, so happy about that. Anyway, now on to the next game. This is the game of superpowers, which still doesn't have a name. You may have heard me mention this a while back if you met me at a convention or something like that. This is a game that's been in development since last year, and it's gone through a lot of changes, a lot of different iterations. It was originally kind of like a micro game of 7 cards. Each player has the same 7 cards, and you're kind of placing these into different piles and trying to counter each other in sort of a rock, paper, scissors kind of game. You can imagine that it's like, you know, the usual sort of Pokemon type sort of rock, paper, scissors where electric beats water, water beats fire, fire beats grass or earth, that sort of thing. Anyway, I tried a lot of different versions of this game, and it's been really tough to figure out, and it kind of went on the back burner for a while, and I sort of almost abandoned it. But I kept working on it in my head and eventually came up with a new version, and I think that this is the real actual direction the game is going to head in, because it feels like it has a lot of meat to it, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I will give you a rundown of the game. Superpowers game. So you are leading this team of superheroes in a battle arena in the future, because superheroes aren't really needed in the world anymore, and everything's kind of safe now, everything's under control. So they just sort of battle each other for fun and keep everyone entertained with explosions and cool effects. So this game is sort of like rock, paper, scissors with the original prototype that I mentioned, but it's not so rigid now where it's just like one type beats another type. It's more like, if you could imagine like a Magic the Gathering or like Innovation type of game where you have a number of cards that can be used to kind of generate or to make an engine to further you in the game while countering what your opponent is doing in their engine. With your team of superheroes, you're trying to gain enough strength to beat your opponent's strength each turn, and that way deal them damage and dwindle their life total, right? Kind of a straightforward, simple thing that we've seen before. But what's different is you start out by drafting a team of superheroes, which consists of some advanced heroes and then some from this core set that you can always draft from. You're going to draft 3 of the advanced superheroes, and then you're going to draft 7 of the core ones. You're going to start with that as your deck, and you're going to pick a 6-card hand and put 3 cards down. I know this is kind of saying a lot at once. Right now the cards just look like this, which isn't much of a visual aid, but this is like the type of hero that they are, their name, their special ability, and then the number there is the strength that they give. Anyhow, so you put them down, and they give you effects, and as the game is going, every turn you have to put a new hero down onto one of your piles. So you can imagine if you had 3 piles out, every turn you're going to play 1 card to one of these piles from your hand. So you might play this one, boom, to this, and then that'll replace that, and now these 3 cards are going to trigger on your turn. And everyone's playing simultaneously, so you're trying to anticipate what the other players are doing, your opponents are doing, so on and so forth. Now, to build out your engine and gain more strength, you're going to be recruiting more heroes. You can recruit heroes from the core set or from more of the advanced cards. There are 4 different types of heroes in the game, and these matter a lot. They're not the whole game, which is kind of what's different about this prototype. So there are nature, tech, psych, and physical heroes. And they sort of combo in different ways. There are abilities like get +1 strength for each nature card in your hand. And then there are also other things that let the types combo with each other. And then the types also have other types that they hate. So nature hates tech, and psych hates psychic, and vice versa. So each of those have sort of core cards that hose the other types. So you kind of need to watch out for those coming and not just stick to one type, even though there could be a lot of synergy in that type. Anyhow, what's cool about the game is even though you have like a hand and a tableau out in front of you and a deck, at the end of every turn, you get to do one action, and this is either recruiting a new hero that goes into your deck or taking something from your deck and putting it in your hand. So you're not drawing cards from the top of your deck and it being random. It's more like you have a very specific strategy or way of addressing what your opponent is doing, and you can then think, oh, I need this very specific card in my deck. I'm going to go get it right now at the end of this turn, and he's not going to know what it is. Or if he's kind of been watching what you're doing and picking up on the clues that you have or that he's been giving you, he might understand what he's pulling or what you're pulling from your deck and know how to counter it. So it's this very cool game where there's maybe 20 core cards and like 70 advanced cards, and every time you play it's going to be very different because you're not going to see a lot of the cards that are in the giant stack. This is the advanced cards right now. Kind of a lot of cards. Pretty cool. And they actually all kind of work, so that's sort of exciting. So to end that abruptly, that is the game of superpowers. And we're going to be playtesting that and really developing that, even though we have Kneejerk and Apotheker both kind of in the hopper. As long as those games are sort of unblocked, then I think it's okay to focus a little bit of time on new games because something has to keep coming, so we have more products on the way. Anyway, that is it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.